Okay. Okay, we'll call the NCAC Executive Committee meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. The number 2 item on the agenda is a conflict of interest question of officers and committee members. So I guess we'll do officers first. I see Chris and Jeff and I are here, so I have no conflict. Jeff
I have no conflict.
and Chris.
No conflict.
Okay, all right. And then we have 3 committee members here. Nancy?
No conflict for me.
Okay.
And I think Michael's here as parliamentarian.
Okay,
So he would
as
be
a
an officer.
parliamentarian. Okay.
No conflict.
I have no conflict of interest.
Randall. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Meeting minutes from the May 21st, 2024 meeting. Are there any changes that anybody would propose to the minutes?
None from me that haven't already been communicated.
Okay,
Same.
all right.
No.
Okay. All right, we'll accept the minutes as presented then. So item 4 is a election check-in. We have in just a few days, on the 22nd, we have our general membership meeting and an election on that day for bylaws and for 2 officer positions. And I don't know, Jeff, are you or do you think we're ready for that? Is there any?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the purpose of this agenda item was, has anyone else put their hat in the ring? And no one has. So per the new bylaws, Chris and Alex can be elected by voice vote.
After you ask if there are any nominations from the floor.
Sure. Yes. And if that happens, like I would not be surprised if anyone like finally wakes up and goes, wait, they're running unopposed, and scrambles at the last minute to stick their hat in the ring. But
Okay.
my bet is that they won't. But yes, we will ask if there are nominations from the floor. If there are not, I'm going to propose that we consolidate those agenda items so that into one, because we're probably going to take 2 minutes to do it. And yeah, so it looks like we probably will spend very little time on it. Not knock on wood.
Okay. Okay.
And nothing new on no one has asked to run for bylaws either. So.
Remember that if anybody is nominated from the floor, you want to vet them, make sure that they agree to run, say a little bit about themselves, and so on.
Sure.
And then it's only fair for whoever's, they're running against to be able to say something as well as having the written document.
I'm sorry, Nancy, I didn't get that last part.
I said that it's also, if there is somebody and they have an opportunity to speak, then either Alex or Chris would also have the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
Whoever it is that they're running against.
Yeah.
I'm going to restate that for clarity and make sure like we're all on the same page. If anyone is nominated from the floor, we will check their qualifications. Hopefully we'll know them. like hopefully they won't be a stranger. Ask them to speak, offer the person they are running against the opportunity to speak, and then I will have to quickly prepare a poll so that we can actually conduct the election.
Okay. That sounds good, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then with the bylaws committee, I assume if anyone else speaks up, as long as it's 7 or fewer, you could still just do a voice vote after vetting the 2 that are speaking up. Although I know, Jeff, you'd had a concern that if somebody is volunteering to be on the committee that you think would be disruptive, I don't know that we can really do anything about that. But.
Yeah, I don't think we can. And actually, I reviewed the bylaws for elections of officers, but I didn't review the committee. Don't we need to have a poll for the committee, because we have to we have to do votes for each person, or do we want to just like do voice vote one by one by one by one? Like,
I think I think you could do a poll where you could just have all the names and then
Right.
a line
And-
for
and
anyone
yes, no,
additional.
which is
And
what
let
we did
people
last
say
year.
up to 7, one vote per person, but up to 7. I don't know, Michael, what do you think? If
You
it's
can
under
poll-
7, should we
Yeah.
just do a voice vote or?
If there's maximum or less, just do a singular vote. If there's more, then you have to do a poll like we
A
did.
poll, okay.
But do we have to do a vote per person?
No, it doesn't have to be per person, but if you've got, geez, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was online, wasn't it, last year? And you had names.
Yeah, last year we had a
Yeah,
poll
yeah.
because we had
That's,
too
if
many.
there's more than 7, that's what you need to do again.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right. The problem is if there's somebody that a large portion of the group would find objectionable, I don't know how you would handle that. We really didn't set the bylaws up in a way to do it, but it could be that any individual could say that they would like to have a ballot vote. That's in the
yeah,
bylaws.
I think that's like, we probably need to ask if a voice vote is okay,
yeah,
Right.
probably for any of them, like,
yeah,
hmm
like just.
Any
Yeah.
objections? Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
Or
and
Michael's
be clear
favorite,
that it's gonna be a voice vote for everybody at once.
right?
And,
If
and
with
let me ask a
Michael's favorite
point of,
phrase, you could
Yeah.
say, if there are no objections, we will
There
do
you
a voice
There
vote.
you go. There
Yeah.
you go. In terms of objections to a particular person, there's really no way to deal with that.
No, there isn't, I don't think, Michael.
You don't even want to go there, actually.
No.
well,
not
it's
at-
just that then they get to vote them down, like they.
Yeah, right,
They don't wanna do a
right.
voice vote, we
Or
vote.
they get to
a
vote
poll,
them up.
and-
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, like both sort of as like a meeting running issue and then me as the secretary issue. How
Yeah,
do voice votes work? Like, are we actually gonna like go one by one and count, or is it just like if no one says nay, that is it by assent? Is it like if no one does it have to be unanimous? Like how does it work?
On a Zoom thing, you either raise hand or have them put up their hand flag.
So we have to count.
A voice vote, you're not going to hear anything. You're going to hear one person because that's the way Zoom works.
Okay, so a poll would be easier than
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so if we actually have to count, we should just do a poll.
yeah, I agree, I agree.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I'll
That's
just set
a,
up a poll.
yeah, that's a good, yeah,
Well, it's hard to object to because it's a machine. It's counting the votes and you get it. It's not like I'm counting them and I got it wrong. It's
yeah, yeah,
the vote's
You
the
have a
vote.
record.
And it's, yeah.
And I think you can do the officers as a slate, because that's basically, even though it's not technically a slate, you could do both together, and then the committee members, the bylaws subcommittee members, you can do as a group also,
think
unless
what I will
we get 3
do-
people additional.
I think what I will do, if you all agree, in the interest of just because we think it's just a NOAA, like a formality, and we just want to get through it as fast as possible. So I will do one poll with both the officers and the bylaws committee, and everyone says yes, no to everybody, and then we're done.
I think it needs to be separate.
I wouldn't do
Okay.
that because there may be different feelings about the offices.
No. Like each question, each person running will have their own yes, no. But we
But
will
they'll
I
do
would
all
put
be
the
on the same
officers as a
page.
separate poll and the committee members as a separate
Yeah,
poll.
separate
Okay.
polls. Yeah.
we'll do it that way.
okay. So 2 polls then, one for the officers and one for the bylaws.
Okay.
All right.
So did I miss some drama that there's people from Walport coming up here getting rowdy? Or what's the expectation that someone wants to the bylaws committee? Is that
Well,
a?
we had quite a bit of action last year, if you'll recall, Randall, but but I don't think this year we're gonna have that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see
did.
anyone jumping to
That
join
had
us.
sorted itself out, but
I did mention that if you folks down here in Walport really want to see how things are run well, come on up and see us.
Okay.
so they may be there.
They may be.
So yeah, I think someday if ever things get hot and contentious again, we might be worried about like people volunteering for committees who are going to fight, And
Uh-huh.
our current bylaws do not really give us much
No,
ability to deal with that.
no.
Yeah,
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think recently we had a situation where a committee was being talked about where two people who we know hate each other were both volunteering. So it's not that hypothetical.
Yeah,
Right.
But I think for this one, it's going to be fine.
yeah,
If you want some discussion on that, maybe we can bring that up in the policies and procedures somehow. Conflicts, et cetera, et cetera.
adversarial stuff.
That's
Well,
right, yeah.
Yeah, if we want to stick with the current version of the bylaws, where committee members are just elected,
yeah,
and if there's anything we can come up with in the PNPs that gives us some ability to kind of manage problems, that would be well. But we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
Last week at the faculty senate meeting, there was an expectation that there would be a group of students to come in
Mm.
and protest about the Palestinian-Israeli situation.
Right.
And you know, you've probably read that we've had protests on campus for quite a while. And the president was concerned about it, the president of the university. She was going to speak anyway. The campus police were advised, and we had a plan of action on what to do if such a thing occurred. And that's not a bad thing to at least simply discuss.
yeah,
Not necessarily come up with a set of rules, but at least discuss it and see.
yeah.
Okay.
So, Mark, when you're doing the election, you might want to just say that the people who need to have standing as members to vote, because there are people who can attend, but they should qualify as a member. I don't know. It's probably not necessary because it's just going to be a probably
Right.
unanimous vote. But
I think that's a good point, though, that especially that, like, because it's the honor system,
mhm.
just that, I think there's a lot of research that says that kind of reminder actually, like when people are kind of not deliberately being bad, but are kind of like sort of on the edge or fudging it, that will dissuade some people from misbehaving. So I think it's like that's a good thing to add to the PNP, and I think it's a good idea just to start it even at this meeting.
Okay. I will mention that you must be a member to vote.
Yes.
And then,
And what qualifies as a member?
right.
What's that, Nancy?
What qualifies as a member? Just very briefly, you know, that you're a resident, you're a resident or a property owner or a business owner within the boundaries, the new boundaries,
Okay,
which are like the old boundaries. So you just within the boundaries, they're just differently stated, but they're basically the old boundaries.
okay. Got it. Okay, is that it for election check-in? Are we done with that one?
I think so.
Okay. Review, discuss, recommend annual budget.
Chris.
Yeah, hey Jeff, would you mind sharing the budget I sent over, because
Sure.
I couldn't log in because I'm out of the country and I'm using a VPN, so Zoom has probably blocked me, so I'm on my phone.
Okay. I will do that. Let's see.
It was tiny on the email. I couldn't enlarge it, so
Okay. How is that? Is it small?
that looks great.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And let me.
So very basic budget for us because of the simplicity of our operations. We rely on donations, entirely on donations, with the exception of the potential funding from the county to support our technology needs. So the revenue line item I have as 0 because I didn't want to assume that the county was going to, you know, that they weren't going to reimburse us for technology costs. As you're aware, we have a request into the county for approximately $2,000. So that revenue line item depending on what the county wants to agrees to reimburse us with, that revenue line item could change. But I'm assuming worst case, and they don't agree to fund us, which they've already agreed to. It's just I don't know what their hang up is.
So Chris, I do have, when we met as CAC chairs, I think it was last week, I asked Sarah about this. In fact, all of us did, about reimbursing. And
Good.
it was, on my notes here, well, there was some talk about the amount and how far do you go back? And it sounds, Chris, like they're going to reimburse us for year 23, 24 only, is what she said. And that there would be a max of $444, but could be less. She was unsure at that time. Her budget is pretty tight. And when we talked about the amounts that each of the CACs that were present had accumulated in costs, I guess it came up to around that number, actually probably more. And she said that $444 was in the ballpark of what the maximum would be. But I don't know, we still don't know what that final number will be, but I think there will be a number there.
Okay, so it sounds like it's capped
Yeah,
each year at $450.
yeah, something like that, Chris.
So she'll reimburse for last year, and then do we have approval for this coming year?
I think that's what she's gonna look at, reimbursing for past year and then for the upcoming year as well.
So you said 23
20,
fiscal, I'm assuming fiscal 23 and fiscal 24.
well, okay, their year goes, as I understand it, Chris, from July to July, right? So
Right.
it goes to, 23, yeah. For 1 year, I should say that, the last year.
So it sounds like we'll get reimbursed for 2 years. So it'd be
No.
about
No,
$900
I
bucks.
think from July 1 of 23
Uh-huh.
to June 30, 24, which would be this year, is all we're gonna get reimbursed for, I
Huh.
believe.
But
They
we can
promised
probably
that
submit
like
another
3 years
claim.
ago.
Yeah.
We can probably submit another claim for fiscal 25.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I mean, if you don't, you may already know this, but they're having budget issues in
Yeah,
Tillamook.
okay.
They're having big budget issues in Tillamook County. The money is really tight.
Yeah.
And so that's happening.
Mhm,
And there's
okay.
not a lot of extra money.
Sure, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
So we may need to have a pledge drive.
yeah, yeah. Something like
Um,
that.
And
So how have you gotten money in the past? Because like I've never seen anything asking for money, and I'd be happy to donate some.
It's on the website. Is there a button
Okay.
asking if you want to donate?
I think there is, but it's not prominent at all. I think only maybe one person has found it, and
That was Guy
so-
Sievers.
Like, so Guy Siebert and Lynn both donated, but I can't remember who found the button or whatever. I don't even remember if it works. But you would know, Chris, because you're where it
Now
goes.
there is something at the very bottom, help fund the NCAC.
Okay. And
It
I
goes
donated.
directly to your phone, Chris. Somebody push that button, you're gonna know about it.
well, I do get PayPal notifications. So like when Guy donated, it went through PayPal.
Okay.
So people are either using PayPal or sending checks.
Okay.
But we can have that as an agenda item for a future meeting. Is
Yeah.
like, what should we do for a fund drive? And given that if we do a fund drive, we're actually probably going to raise a lot more money than we need. Is there something we can do with
Yeah.
extra money?
So Tom Sipe has asked me, and I mentioned it last month, he would really like to see us have a separate Zoom subscription for the committee with some of the issues we've gotten into with the polling. I could see donating for that myself, but it would need to be in the budget to be under the NCAC. So it'd almost be like NCAC bylaws or something like that.
Oh.
And I don't know if the community community plan would be wanting that, but Tom's on your committee too. So,
Uh-huh.
the time we really, normally it works. I have I have the password, and most of the time it just lets me log in. And when it doesn't, Chris or Jeff gives me the code that comes through. So that's not a big deal. But when we were doing polling for the feedback sessions, we Chris can talk about it, but I mean, suddenly my poll stuff went away from me. I couldn't get to it at all.
Hmm.
Even after he logged out, he had it. So he ended up having to leave his dinner and run polls for me.
Hmm.
It was just, it was a problem. And
Yeah, it shouldn't
and
be
thank
that
you,
way.
Chris, for doing it. But by having our own subscription, it would make it a little bit easier.
Well, let's
I
put
don't
a
know.
pin in that, because we're not, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not on today's agenda, and but
Well, it's the budget, right? So I mean, we could always do a budget amendment, but
Yeah, I think a
It is.
budget amendment is probably what we'll want to do after more discussion about this, I think.
because yeah, I think it's what we should do with Zoom and whether we should have multiple accounts. That's kind of a big discussion, because the accounts cost a fair amount of money, and how much does it work? So let's save that for another time.
Mhm.
okay, because they're $150, right, for a year.
So the other thing that I would say came out of that meeting related to budget stuff is that Sarah said she'll have the business manager attend CAC meetings to inform the communities of budget issues in the county. They're
Mm.
you talk about roads, or you talk about potholes, or you talk about police and all these things. And so she said that she would be happy to have the budget business manager, I'm sorry, come to CAC meetings and give just an overview of county budget, which might be a good thing for folks to hear. So, okay, that's all I have from the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Mark. So going back to the budget, what do we want to include in the revenue line item, the $450, or do we want to leave it blank?
I would put, she said, I would put $450 in there. Now, that's not guaranteed. So she said she had to work on that. She said that would be the max, but it probably will be less. She said, I'm unsure, because the day of the meeting, we all spoke about how much money we're spending, what they're going to cover. And she's like, okay, wait, let me, okay. I think I can put, $444 is the number I wrote down. A weird number, but that's what she thought would be the max. So
I think that if we don't know, we should leave it blank. And maybe the policies and procedures, one of your first items should be budget
Setting a
updates,
budget.
or like what do we do? Because we're not, like realistically, we're not going to just vote on the budget and not revisit the finances for a whole year. There's probably all kinds of situations where we might have to come back and revisit it. So,
Or we could put in the 444 with a note.
with a note that this is the estimated amount that the county will reimburse. I mean, and that's the truth. And then there's a number there.
Right, because it's not good to go into a negative budget.
What do you
Well,
think, Chris?
Well, for this year, because we
Yeah.
are owed 400 and how much was it, Mark?
That's true. 444 is the number I've written, Chris, but
We potentially have an accounts receivable.
Yeah.
From the county for that.
Right.
And then we have anticipated
for this year.
revenues, right? So,
Could you separate those revenues, Chris, and put 444, for the last year, for, I guess,
23, 24.
yeah, 23, 24, and then 444 for 24, 25, and then just put estimated next to each of them.
Yeah, I could put the 400 in the revenue line item, and then down below where it says cash on hand, below
Okay.
that, I can put accounts receivable
Okay,
of last year's amount with a
Yeah.
notation.
yeah. In
But
some ways,
we have that now though, right? We have the cash on, we have the 635 now.
No, well, yeah, that's our checking account, but we have an accounts receivable from the county based on what Mark just
Yeah.
noted for this past fiscal year
Right.
that's owed to us.
So it's the 635 that we've got in the account now.
yeah,
Yeah, that's our
Okay.
current checking
Current
account.
balance. So I think in some ways, I think putting those in there isn't a
Yeah.
bad move because that's what they told us. And this is the budget that we are going to propose. And if the county says at some point, oh, whoa, we're not, you know, maybe they're only going to give us $375. I don't know. She said the max would be 440 before, but we're going to say that's what we were told. That's what we put in there. We're hoping to get that. That's what we adopted.
But that's what all budgets are anyway. They're expectations of what's
Yeah.
gonna occur. And, we haven't sold tickets yet, so we're
Right.
gonna make $12,000 in ticket sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it in there. It's okay. I think people
I
understand.
think so. I think so.
And I think like Mark said, have two line items with a total revenue line. So you have each of the county
Yeah.
contributions, the last year or this current year plus next year.
I don't think
Yeah.
it would hurt at all to just, toss out a line that if anybody would like to contribute a few bucks here or there, $10, 20, 25, whatever, it certainly would help us a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get a few. I'll send you a few. How's that?
Appreciate that. Yeah, Rand, Brenda, and myself contributed quite a bit when we were hot and heavy with the community plan there.
You mean
Okay,
this year?
what's that?
Previous.
You contributed this year
No, this was in
before?
over the past 5 years.
Last
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
What was the amount again that Sarah had?
So I have Chris written here, $444 max. That's what
Okay.
I've written. So,
Okay, I'll include that, and then I'll send a revised budget later today when I'm back in the office.
okay.
Okay.
And you'll have two lines, right? One for this year and one for next year.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to be voting on what, like a budget that Chris is describing, but we haven't actually seen yet. Just to be clear.
Oh, voting in this session.
Right, voting to forward the budget to the
Right.
to the membership.
Oh, I see. So could you add that in, Jeff? Since I guess Chris is.
I think so. Let's see. So
Yeah. So add. So the
tell me
revenue
what to
line-
type.
What's that?
Tell me what to type.
Oh,
Accounts
Keep
receivable.
it- County.
440.
that point.
Yeah, that's for this current year and then accounts expected for the next year.
So revenues would be for fiscal 2025, and that's 12 months, period. So that should be 444.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I just put 444 in here? And
You want,
So we're receiving it though this year though, right, Chris? So hopefully we're going to actually get the 888 this year.
that's
One for
correct.
reimbursement for last year and then one for this year.
Right. The way the P&L works is it's the forward-looking 12 months activity.
Mhm.
So the other 444 related to fiscal 24 is owed to us.
Yeah.
That would have ideally been in last year's budget. That should not show up in the revenue line item. That should be in accounts receivable under cash on hand.
Okay.
okay, I think we'll better let Chris do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Because if we're going to receive the 444 for this last year in July, then it should be in revenues, right? If we're going to receive it before July 30th this year, then it should be in cash on hand, but we haven't received it yet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cash basis versus accrual accounting, but
Yeah, let's
Let's
trust
just-
Chris on this because he does this for a living.
Yeah,
let's, to make it simple, let's assume cash basis.
Bit of an
So
understatement.
we can put the 888 in the revenue line item. And we can just add a notation next to it that half of the amount is expected to be reimbursed by the county for fiscal 24.
got it.
Right.
Is that
That
right?
looks good. Yeah.
Okay.
Could we also just put a title at the very top that, NCAC budget fiscal year 24, 25?
Oh, he has statement of activities.
Well,
And-
we don't say NCAC, it's just in the title of the document, but it's not on, if you do a PDF, it's not going to show up as the NCAC budget.
Yeah, I would say NCAC budget fiscal 2025.
Well, it's 2024, 25, right?
It's not
It's a,
2
it's a
years.
fiscal year.
Fiscal year is the year that it ends,
Fiscal-
right?
Fiscal year versus calendar year. So
Yeah.
our fiscal year end is 2025. So that will be June 30th of 2025.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Usually, okay. I'm used to dealing with school years where it's 2024, 25, but okay.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
give.
We could say calendar year 2024, 2025. That would be correct.
It's not
Well,
calendar year, it's fiscal year,
And then if it's
2024,
fiscal year,
25. Because the fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th.
well, but what Chris is saying is that when you say fiscal 2025 and our fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th, fiscal 2025, it's implicit that,
you're talking about the 12 months ending June 30th, 2025. But
right?
Yeah,
yeah, we don't have to be technical. We could say 2024, 2025. I just don't want people to think that this is a 2-year budget.
right.
Right.
I think we're overthinking this. I think if we
I
say
think
fiscal
so. I think
2025,
it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, certainly when we talk about the budget, we can point that out to folks. It's,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, anything else on the budget?
well, we have to vote on it,
Okay,
forward it, and yeah, so.
So let me explain real quick on the expenses because we haven't talked a lot about them. They've stayed pretty consistent year over year for the past few years. So I just kind of carried those forward to 2025. And I didn't factor in, a CIP or an anticipated increase.
Hmm.
And last year we went over 100 participants for 2 months. So that was $50 per month.
okay,
So that's what line number 10, that $100, that's what that relates to.
okay.
So we may or may not,
Incur that.
incur that this next year.
Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Looks pretty straight up.
thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Could we just take out line 2?
Statement of activities,
This is the budget, right? So,
Chris,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Good.
Okay, so we have to vote to forward it to the general membership, right?
I
Or
move to forward the proposed budget as amended to the general membership.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No? Okay, we'll do just a voice vote here, or a
Yeah, I
hand
think we can
raise.
just all raise hands, like.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I raised my hand.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
unanimous.
It's unanimous.
I'm still in bed, so that's why I don't have my camera.
It's 4 in the morning, right?
Oh, geez, okay,
Wow.
all right,
Thank you for all your work on that, Chris.
thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get back to the agenda, okay. Okay, Community Plan Steering Committee check-in. So Rand,
Well, we just were working on the notes from the meeting yesterday, today. So I don't think you've seen any of that documentation, so kind of go through it. I had some amendments. They're not on this copy, but I'll try and remember them as I go. So, we're at the, just in a setup, we're at the point in time where we've pretty much got a set of visions and values that's been pretty accepted as we've gone along, and it's grown, and that's pretty settled, for the moment anyway. We had a little fracas with with Sarah that was basically a misunderstanding of the recommendations from 2001 that were sent to her, and she had comments on them. She sent them. The guy never got them. Lynn never got them. We sorted that out yesterday, which was really great to have sorted that out, because it was just a confusion. It wasn't really any disagreement. So that work can kind of begin more in earnest and with better understanding. But Sarah's basically going to set up and present in 3 meetings in the next month. I guess it ends up about over the next month. So I'll read this. It'll give you some more detail about that. So there'll be a meeting on June 29th at 10:30 a.m. And that will be at the Nesquin Beach Golf Course Clubhouse. So it'll be a hybrid meeting with a presentation by Sarah on Land Use 101. This will be a very helpful orientation for the efforts to complete the community plan. Will also serve as a preamble to the 7-9 meetings, July 9th meeting on Senate Bill 406 that she's going to present, and a 7/23, July 23rd meeting on Nesquin Development Standards. So these are all a way of explaining to people how land use works. So it'll be pretty dry, although she said the 3rd session, she does illustrations, and everyone gets pretty much giggling and laughing over her illustrations. So it's somewhat entertaining and a lighter moment than most of the stuff, which is extremely dry. I've been considering having a movie poster kind of a pitch for some of these because of the, anyway, that would be a comedic expression related to these that I don't know if I can work that up to anything really usable, but it occurred to me yesterday.
It's not a bad idea if
Movie posters, with
anyone
Sarah.
can make a movie poster for like SP 406.
Promise them a lot, and they might come. So
They're coming. The duplexes.
there you
Right.
go. Drop from helicopters will be in the background. Dropping mobile homes on Nesco, and that was the rumor.
Yeah.
So the meeting date for the discussion of 406 was confirmed as July 9th from 6 to 8:30, and is Zoom only. That, I believe that is changed now, and it will be a hybrid meeting at the Hawk Creek Gallery. Jody and Michael said they would be willing to host that, and they have internet, and it's a nice room. So I think it's a good opportunity to have a public meeting there. There'll be a 90-minute presentation on on 406, which is the Tillamook County specific legislation to expand affordable housing. And we agree with Sarah that it'd be best to hold questions until the end. People will come to and are welcome to eat dinner during the Zoom meeting. Then we discuss the whole thing with the recommendations that I just kind of alluded to. And Lynn and Guy and Lynn will get together as a trio and work through the discussion of the these are the recommendations from 2001, and they're somewhat dysfunctional, so they're going to review that. The other note here is that Guy Sievert was not able to attend. He had surgery on Monday, and I actually still haven't heard from he or Donna, so I don't have an update on that, but he'll be set back for a while, I think, because it was a significant surgery. So, and Lori was a little concerned at our meeting that we were starting to talk about this as a new plan, but we clarified for her that it's a new presentation, but a revised plan. It's not a completely new plan. She was disturbed by that language. So that was good for her to bring that up and make clear to people that with Tom's work, it'll be a new presentation that will be coherent and work and be more easily understood. But the plan is a revised plan itself. We discussed the meeting on the 23rd of July, which will cover the NESCO and development standards. This meeting will hopefully be live meeting to allow for visuals. I haven't secured that location yet. This will be an important meeting for people interested in the standards, and particularly in regard to Senate Bill 406 and how that pertains specifically to NESCO. Examples will be given, et cetera. So we also have two meetings on the 1st and the 15th of July that are our regular bi-weekly meetings, just for the committee to review what happened in each meeting and see how we can prepare best for the next meeting. So that's the update that I have for you. Anything that is too obscure? Yes, Nancy.
Well, go ahead, Nancy.
I just have a quick question. I thought there was going to be another meeting on the values to kind of wrap that up. Is that still planned, or did I miss it?
The meeting it was going to be the 22nd. I think it was at the same day as the community, the CAC meeting. So we just said, we gotta move forward, and it will be reviewed at the meetings. They'll be available. We'll probably hand them out, and we'll publish what we have when Tom is done with the new, more narrative version of the vision and values. But they're totally open to revision and discussion, and which will definitely happen when recommendations come up. If there's not a direct correlation with the value, we'll have to create a value that expresses the logic for the recommendation. So there always has to be a pairing between each recommendation on ordinances that we would include has to be tied to a value and the vision. So it will be an active thing. What were you looking for? A review of that, or of a vote or something?
I don't know about vote, but it's just, I thought there was going to be some major work done from the last meeting on values, which have been really helpful. You guys have done a great job. But to tie those up, because there were going to be a number of changes, and there was a meeting that had been scheduled to go over those, kind of wrap up that before going on into the standards, I thought. So that was just my question. Yeah, I felt like, I don't think we've wrapped it up, but I could be the only one thinking that, so.
Well, what will, as I mentioned there, we want to get this into a form that is a little more readable, and it's kind of the visions and values are kind of interspersed. And Tom's going to be clarifying those elements, so it's a little more easy to understand. And I think that would be a better time to then say, how are we doing with this? How do you feel about these? I did get the feel from the meetings that we had that there wasn't a lot of pushback
Yeah,
on.
can I make a suggestion?
Sure, Jeff.
So I would suggest that you set a milestone where Tom is going to have the vision and values written up in a draft form that is consistent with what you expect to be in the final document. And that you release that, probably like I would release that at a meeting, maybe in the August meeting. And I would also send it out and ask for written feedback, because as you say, you're thinking you probably got everything, but you also want to make sure that you are giving people plenty of opportunities to give you feedback all along the way. But I don't think you need another meeting on it, because you've had a bunch of meetings on this. You just want to make sure that, like, hey, here's what we came up with. Like, do you have anything, like, do you have any comments? So I would say present it at a general meeting, and also maybe send it out and ask for like say, hey, if you had feedback, let us know. Like, so.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, we keep checking in with Tom, and the latest was that he had to do it on some new software, which he had to get some understanding of before he used. So
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
we
But
have been,
like he said, he was going to
we've
use
been
LibreOffice.
talking, and I
so
think he feels like it's coming around, and he's going to be able to show us something soon. So I don't want to push him. I think
sure.
there's
Just-
plenty of material, and the key is for him to use his digestive process to present it. And then I think it's going to be a much more usable document for people to review, and certainly we'll send it out. We'll post it on the site. We'll encourage people to give us feedback on it, because that's
So
what
if
we
you're
got
going
to
to
do
target,
until it's published.
if you're going to follow my suggestion and
Yes,
share this
set a
in
milestone.
August, you've got 2 months. So you get
Well,
plenty of
I'd
time.
like to do it I think mostly July is going to be Sarah presenting and us reviewing how those meetings went. So I hope he's going to have time. I'd like to do it in later July, have the milestone be later in July. So I'll talk to him about how realistic that is. But I would like to see it kind of as we're winding down Sarah's presentations. We have a really nice publication of the current values as stated, so that they're reminded that that was being worked on, and here's what it is, and that's going to help, because they don't really know how the vision and values are going to be functioning until Sarah really explains it all. So if we can have it there, then in a really nice form for them to say, oh, that's how it works. That's what we're going to use these for. Now I'm looking at it with new eyes. I think that that's an important thing, and I'm kind of counting on Tom to provide that in a more clear form.
Let us
So I'll talk to him about a milestone, and we'll
Yeah.
come to an agreement. and
let
share
us
it.
all pray for Tom's health.
Yes.
So does everyone on the executive board feel like they understand SB 406 and why it's a big deal? And you're shaking your head, Mark.
Well, I don't understand everything about it. I get the gist of it.
There's a whole meeting to learn about it, but
Yeah.
the gist, like the shorthand, which we kind of as an
I
executive
know.
board
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
have our eyes on.
Yeah.
Is that it means that duplexes, fourplexes,
Right.
condos, like townhouses,
Yep.
have to be allowed anywhere in Nescoin.
Yep.
And whether or not anyone's going to build any of those, a bunch of people are going to freak out. So that's going to be kind of like in our world, like universe, like that's going to be on our plate. So
I could. Yeah, I do know, I did know that part, Jeff. I don't know, you know, I don't know all some of the intricacies of it, but I did know that part.
Well,
Uh,
it does, for one to be built, it has to already meet all the criteria for a R1. It's not just like any place you can build anything. It will be a part of the consideration for any residential
Yeah.
one. So that's a reality. That's potential is there.
Yeah,
But well, I mean, as I understand it, there isn't really anything for us to do. It's just that we're the forum in which people are gonna like freak out at Sarah about it. So, um,
It's based on state law, right? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
state
Yeah,
law
it's not
to
an option. It's
have
a
affordable
reality.
housing. And, yeah.
so
Okay.
just making sure we have our eyes out that that's going to be sort of something in the water for the next few months.
I would just say, and this is not in my notes from our meeting, the other thing that Sarah says is going to be a big deal, and I don't think it's anything that's in the community plan or any part of the community plan, but there's big changes coming from FEMA that will be difficult and expensive, that's what's in my notes, which is the federal emergency management related to flooding in Tillamook County.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's the
Okay,
other,
well,
that's
we'll
the
look
other
forward
big
to that.
Yeah.
I mean, difficult and expensive is the county's
Yeah.
problem. We're just
Yeah.
so.
Check your overlay maps from the
Yeah.
coastal erosion and adaptation plan.
Yeah.
That's where it'll hit the road.
Hopefully
Okay.
FEMA will contribute money too for it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Randall, for the community plan update.
Sure.
Bylaws committee, check in, Nancy.
So very briefly, we canceled our last meeting for lack of a quorum. We're going to be meeting this Friday and talking about policies and procedures topics, but we're not going to get into anything major. We'll also talk some about meeting dates for the summer. I was a little reluctant to try to discuss meeting dates for the year in case we end up with more committee members that might like to discuss it too. But we'll be meeting. The last time we met, people wanted to meet once a month, and previously we were thinking we'd take the summer off. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But I kind of think all of us are ready for a little bit of a break, and then we'll start fresh in September. But I could be overruled on that. Anyway, we're doing fine. I still haven't seen anything formal from Sarah, but I think you heard, Mark, that they were approved, and I heard from her when I was in Tillamook County that they were approved verbally. I just haven't seen anything in writing. So I have sent her things saying, confirming that they're approved, and I haven't gotten anything back saying they're not. So
I've seen that.
I think we're good.
I really think we're good. It's just she's really singing the praises of the NESCOM bylaws committee.
Yeah.
Publicly, at least in the chair CAC meetings and to anybody who will listen, to be honest. And so I don't have any worries about that. So
Good. No, she's been very positive
Yeah.
and really appreciate all her help. I know you put up the bylaws, Jeff, on a bylaws page, and looks like it's also in the others. So thank you for updating that. So I think otherwise, as we go through the policies and procedures, we're likely going to have things that will affect additional bylaws modifications, because it's kind of sounds like with the community plan, we'll be going back and forth a little bit, but it shouldn't be anywhere near major like it was. It should be calm. I did ask Sarah if we needed to go for approval with the attorney for the policies and procedures, and she said that she would just take a look at anything and decide whether it should go to the attorney. It just would depend on what we're talking about, but she'll still stay heavily involved as we do those. So that's all we have.
So Nancy, I really think you're going to need some time off to cut the lawn behind you. It's getting out of hand.
Yes, I agree, Rand. I need a I actually took some pictures. We were in Nesco and I need to put a better backdrop up.
No,
Or
it's
somebody can
great.
send me a better backdrop because my pictures didn't turn out that well. It was
That's-
raining.
That's a badass lawn.
Yeah, this is just a plain old Zoom backdrop. So.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. That sounds great. Let's see, discuss the date of the next executive board meeting.
Okay, so the Tuesday, 2 weeks before, August 10th. And do we think we're gonna meet on August, that we're gonna have you were saying that you had a conflict on August 10th.
I do have a conflict on August 10th.
Okay,
Yeah,
to my knowledge, I don't have it, like, right now, I don't have a conflict on August 10th. Chris, how does August 10th work for you?
It should be okay. I mean, depending on where I'm at, I should be able to dial in.
Okay, so let's assume that we're gonna have the general meeting on August 10th. We still can change our mind. So the 2 weeks, the Tuesday 2 weeks before is the 23rd, and that is booked by the community plan. Or the community plan committee. So, do we want to meet Wednesday? Do we want to meet before that?
Wednesday would work,
It's Wednesday, the 24th of July.
and that would be at 7 p.m.
Oh, that's what we usually do.
Yeah. Okay.
that would be fine. Let me. Yeah, yeah, it would be fine for me.
Okay, Nancy and Rand.
Works for
State the
me.
date again.
Sorry, what was
The
that,
2
Rand?
weeks before the other date is where I got fuzzy, and then I was putting in the other one, so I need that date again. The 2 weeks before.
Tuesday, the 24th, or Wednesday, the 24th of July. Like, it's the day
Okay, thank
after
you.
your meeting.
It appears I have nothing on my calendar at that time. So works for me.
Okay, so let's go ahead and set that as the date of the next executive board meeting, where we will set the agenda for the next.
So we're not going to meet in July, is what I'm hearing.
That is in
The
July.
bylaws do cut. Okay, you're right.
And it's
Never
only
mind.
about a month from now, because
Yeah.
our June.
Where is time going? Yes.
Okay. June,
So I guess
Wednesday, or July 24th.
I should just ask, I'll put you on the spot, Mark, but
Yeah.
the parliamentarian is part of the executive board. So I guess you'll probably be appointing an official parliamentarian at some point that they're actually a non-voting part of the executive board. And it's just up to you, as I recall.
Mhm.
Have to look at the bylaws, but to appoint a parliamentarian. So
Okay,
I'm just saying it
That's on the
because,
agenda for Saturday.
okay. Just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
if you're going to appoint Michael that he's available for the
yeah,
10th
Okay,
or for the
Michael, June
24th
the
also,
24th,
July.
July 24th. Okay.
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 All right, July 24th at 7 o'clock. Okay. A Wednesday, not a Tuesday.
Right.
Okay. Public comment? I don't.
Yeah, we don't have any members of the public.
All right. We'll move on to number 10, a review agenda for June regular membership meeting. So
And
you have that, Jeff, probably.
Yeah.
Up there.
let's see, is this the right one? Like, I can't, let's see. I think, yeah, okay, that has the border around it. Okay. I'm gonna merge 8 and 9.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're now a subcommittee.
Uh, uh,
As
Same
of
with
May
community
11th.
plan.
So Rand, from what you were saying the other yesterday, you probably don't need 20 minutes.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I would put 10 minutes.
We'll put 10, and this is all like just advisory. It's
Right,
fine.
right. Depends on how much we get into the pitch and if we have a poster ready to flash up on the screen.
And they're also a subcommittee now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Correct. And Mark, we need to add an item, right?
yeah.
And I think you could probably just give bylaws 2 minutes. I don't think we're gonna have anything ready to present for a vote or anything.
Okay. So I think Jeff, the item we're adding, is that what you're talking about?
Right. And
Yeah.
let me
Go ahead.
stop sharing right now. Can put it back up if we need to.
You want to go, Jeff, or you want
I was gonna let you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm going to be stepping down as a chairperson of the NCAC. And I'm going to make that announcement on Saturday. For me, I've had some changes over the course of the year that have been pretty significant in terms of family. And I just, I believe that a chairperson has to be fully involved all the time, and I was pretty good at that through, I think, maybe January or February, and then it just got crazy for me, and meetings dropped off my calendar. I miss meetings, and it's just not. I don't like that. It's not like me to do that, and I've just been sort of torn for going in a number of different directions for a while, and so. It's been a little more than I thought it would be, in terms of meetings and time. But I think it's best for me to step aside and have somebody take this position that that can do it right and put the time and the effort in. I just don't think I can't do it for another year. And I would just say that I think the NCAC is in a great position. They're just fabulous people working for the NCAC. So I don't, the part I did was organizing and maybe doing some OPML stuff at the first to get us on that track. But everybody else is doing a lot of work and just great work. And so I think it's in a good position. So that was my announcement for today. I'll announce that to the membership on Saturday. And I'll stay on until, for not too long, but I'll stay on until there's a transition to a new chairperson. So.
And I will be leaving Nescoin for personal reasons later this year. So I will no longer be eligible to serve. And when Mark shared with me that he was making this change, I was like, well, we should have one election. Like we should just take care of this together.
Yeah.
So, I think what we should do is hold an election for chairperson and secretary in August.
Wow, sorry to hear that both of you are
Yeah.
leaving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Goodness
Yeah.
sakes.
Look, lives change, things change.
Yeah.
We're all lining up for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Please understand you contributed greatly. Everybody
Yeah.
appreciates it. Take your leave with grace and happiness and don't worry about a thing.
Okay.
Well said, Michael. Well
Yeah.
said.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys have been great. It's been a very good group of officers, and I'm yeah, I'm trying to scramble to go like, who's gonna fit these roles? But that's not your issue. You guys have contributed greatly, so thank you for your work.
I certainly would be happy to help try and
Yeah.
round up, and especially like if we can round up someone or hopefully more than one person who's interested in being secretary and have them serve as communications coordinator until August.
Yeah.
And we can have a smooth transition. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and anyone you want to try and recruit. So
Are you willing to stay on as the immediate past president role in some limited capacity, Mark?
Yeah, I
Since we have
can,
that new one, much more
Yeah,
limited, but.
yeah, I can do so. I think I could consider that, Nancy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys have just done a terrific job. I can't even imagine CAC without you. But as Michael said, life can happen, and I'm just trying to think, Jeff, if it almost sounded like you'd be willing to stay in the position if you could qualify for membership in some way. Is that correct?
I can't say that I'm unhappy about being behind all this work. So
Yeah,
Jeff
don't
has
you
been-
dare tell anyone how much work you've
He's
done.
been so busy. Jeff is. Yes.
hopefully we can hand it off to like we can learn from my experience and set someone else up with or some other a group of other people up
Yeah.
to be so that it's not quite so much work.
Having that communications
Yeah.
task force. Huh. Okay. Where are you going to go, Jeff?
Still being figured out.
Okay.
Well, the great philosopher Heraclitus, and the only constant in the universe is change.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
More
Okay.
power to you guys.
A big two.
So we need to add I'm going to share this again. We need to add the agenda item for making this announcement and decide what we're going to write on the agenda, because I think we should probably not give
You
everything.
can just say announcements.
Yeah.
Do we want an announcement at the, let's see, am I sharing the right? Okay, I'm sharing my whole screen. Let's stop that and see.
I guess the only question is, would that affect Alex or Chris's officer election this time? I guess not. They could always, if one of them was interested in taking one of your positions, then we would just fill in behind them.
Yeah.
Like, have you talked to Alex to see if he might want to, I guess technically he could take over for you in August if we don't have somebody in an elected position, but
Alex is on like 11 things.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say he's overbooked already.
Yeah.
okay.
So, I would say we should do this announcement right before the adjournment. But what do other people?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
that's a
at the end would be
approach.
better.
Yeah.
I think. I do have that conflict on August 10th where I'm camping in Central Oregon and I won't have any Wi-Fi. It was so that's a conflict for me. I guess if Alex wasn't running for the chair position, he could run that meeting.
We're not going to allow him to run for that position.
Yeah. So he could, I mean, he could run that meeting.
Right, he could run the meeting.
He
Sure.
could run the meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, I think we're done.
Okay, well,
Wow.
good on you and going forward.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I think if there are no other comments, thanks everybody for attending tonight, and we will see you at the general membership meeting on it's Saturday at 1:30 in the afternoon, different time. So
Yeah.
so we'll see you at that time.
Okay,
All right.
All right.
Okay, see you
thank
all
you very
then.
much.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.